Hello YouTube audience, this is Aaron from Lone Star Drift, and I get the question all the time, how much does a trip to Ebisu cost? So Ebisu is an amazing circuit with like 7 little tracks inside one big circuit and the mountains nestled up all beautiful in Japan. It is absolutely amazing and I love it and I go all the time because I'm an adult. A plane ticket. Plane costs me typically between $450 and $600 to take a flight as long as I can get a good plane ticket. I have had them cost, if we had to do something event organized, like related, and we didn't have any flexibility on time or anything, could go as high as $1,800. But typically that's how much I budget. But whenever I get stuck, sometimes I get boned and I have to pay way more. Typically not that much, although it did when I had to do the Yokoi event with Tezuka and Travis came over. I had to pay $1,800 a ticket, but right now the exchange rate and gas and everything is very cheap. And if you plan far enough out, you could get it like that. Next up is a car. So if you have a car, you're gonna be more like in the 3,000, which isn't really gonna happen, to 10,000 range. So 3,000 doesn't really exist. I would say the sweet spot is going to be somewhere right around the $5,000 to $6,000 range, okay? Now we need a place to stay. I stay at the Ebisu Power Vehicle Lodge and it is, $40 a night per person, per night. Let's write that down. What else do we have? We have tires. I typically go through in a 2-week period of time because I'm really careful on tires. I go through about $800 in tires. The tires themselves are probably about $75 each for a Kenda and like a 235 or a 215. And I go through about $800 of them. Fuel. I would say I go through about $70 per day of fuel. You also have tolls to get to the track and back and forth. I'd budget $200 American for tolls. Food, I wouldn't really count food because you have to eat somewhere anyways, but I spend, I'd say, $30 a day on food. What else do I do? Rental car. So for the rental car, Chelsea's calling me. Let's take a call with Chelsea. What do you want?
Thanks, bro.
No, it's actually kind of funny. I'm in the middle of filming something, so it's still rolling and I answered the phone. What's up? So, Chelsea's asking you right now what tires FIDA's car takes, which is hilarious because we're in the middle of filming how much does a Japan trip cost. So Chelsea's coming with us and he's budgeting right now on the phone and this is not a joke. All right, keep going. You're in the middle of a video, so I was explaining in the video.
I'm actually trying to anti-budget and get free tires from my tire partner.
Oh.
I don't know if it's gonna work. So I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, I should have done this. Wait, here, say that again.
What's that?
Oh, it's funnier if you tell the thing. You're working on a tire partnership with Nitto probably to figure out how to get your tires from Japan, and you were saying something.
Yeah, because Nitto's from Japan, so it's one of those things where if I hit them up, I might be able to get tires direct, like at the track, so that I don't have to pay for them. So it'll save me like $1,200.
That works. And that would be very good for your budgeting kids if you could erase all of the tire costs because you're a famous driver like Chelsea. Okay, anything else?
Nope, that's it. I just didn't know if you knew offhand.
Okay, the rental, we typically split it, but a rental for 2 weeks is typically $700. You split the tolls, where'd the tolls go? Here, you split the tolls by 4 ways over 4, typically. You split the rental cost by 4 people, so that comes way down, but let's see how much this is total. You're also gonna have breakage of parts and some other little things, but we are going to be at, I'm gonna say All right, people keep asking us how much does Ebisu cost, and I would say each of my return trips cost about $5,000 US to do a full trip. Your first trip's the expensive one though, because you have to buy a car. So I would say the first one probably costs anywhere from 10 to 15,000 for your first full trip, everything included. You might recoup some of the money by selling your car back, so it might be only like $6,000 to $10,000 after you recoup the cost. Does that sound about right? A return trip is about $5,000, everything included, and then your first trip is 10 to 15?
Yeah, my first trip was like 22.
A little bit closer so you can hear?
Yeah, it was 22,000.
22,000?
New Zealand.
Oh, New
So it's
Zealand.
probably about 17, 18.
Why was it so much? Because you bought a rad car?
Bought the car, bought all the tools, bought wheels, bought, you know, a shitload of tyres.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't realise you can go through that many tyres.
Yeah.
Just went off, drift days back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like, buy shitloads.
And that's when I'm talking about days, that's about 2 full weeks of driving.
Yeah.
That's what you.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
How much is it for you, Milky?
Oh, let me see. Well, my first trip ended up being, it was like 3,000 pounds for the car, which is, like $6,000 US.
Yeah.
And then, fucking maybe another like 2,000, I'd say for. Well, yeah, including the flights and everything else, another 2,000, so about $5,000.
Yeah.
So like 10K thingy. But I bought it right before the prices of the cars went up.
Yeah.
So my car was like 560,000 yen.
Yeah.
So about $5,000 on it, and after that it ends up being 1.5, I'd say.
Yeah.
Each time. Pounds, yeah.
Yeah. It's about $3,000 a trip. That's cheap.
He did them super cheap. He
I
never
did
got,
super cheap.
never got a rental car.
Never got a rental car.
Just like
because I
bumper
never
rides.
license.
Oh.
So I just catch the train up.
So you're doing each trip for $3,000 basically.
But that's the cheapest.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, and to break it down for you guys, I typically pay about $600 for a flight, and then we split a rental car for about 2 weeks, so it's about $300 a person for a rental car. There's tolls and stuff included, and if we split that, it's about $250 to $300 in tolls, split down by about 4 people, so maybe a little bit under $100 in tolls. We then stay at the Powervehicles Lodge, which is $40 a night, but you can split hotel rooms or anything else. Get as many people as you can to get it cheap. You might end up spending $20 to $30 a night. And then at the track, it's about $75 US for a tank of gas. Tires, I go through about maybe 14 tires per trip, including a few scrubs I have. The tires are about $78 a piece. And then for track entry, I get a gold card, which is $1,000 a year, and it allows me to drive as I want to. So a gold card looks like that, and I get to drive every day basically for $5. So if you came every day of the year, it would be $5 a day plus $1,000 to do that, which is incredibly cheap. And then you have some breakage and like things you need, fluids, maybe a knuckle or something. I typically spend maybe $400 or $500 in breakage parts and everything else and maintenance, and then the rest is tires and gas and everything else. So I would say $5,000 for my return trips, including everything turnkey for 2 weeks of drifting. And this trip we're doing 3 weeks of drifting, which is pretty crazy. Fielding, come here for a sec. What does your turnkey trip cost per return flight, like return trip for 2 weeks for you? How much do you typically spend?
This trip's been a little cheaper because I haven't driven every day.
Yeah.
So I've saved on tires and fuel, but I've also had to pay for parts and I don't know. It kind of works out where you don't spend as much money, but you lose the experience of drifting because you're wrenching the whole time.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to come here and wrench
Yeah,
and
you don't
save
wanna
money
do
on
that.
that.
You don't
So
wanna
how
do
much
that.
do you think it cost you this trip?
It's probably around $3,500 or so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For 2 weeks?
For
No,
2
3
weeks.
weeks.
Well,
You're not going to be driving for all 3 weeks.
yeah,
right?
we're just exploring the last week, and it depends too on we still have a whole nother week of driving, so I don't know. I bought 10 tires. I'll probably use 7 tanks of fuel. One of them here should be free.
Because you're siphoning that out of a car right now.
Yeah, and then entry fee. Today I'll just drive a half day, so that saves a little bit. And food, we've been pretty good, except for last night.
Last night was expensive.
Yeah, last night got expensive, but yeah, probably around $3,500 to $4,000 at the most.
Yeah. And how much was your first trip? Because you split a car. So it was only an extra $2,000 on top of that, basically, right?
Yeah.
So your trip was about $7,000 for your
It's
first
about
one.
7 for the first one. Yeah, we drove
Yeah.
a lot though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, every other day was just a spectator fee. So
Yeah.
I typically a day of driving is $300. He's got 115 tires, 75 in fuel, and 75 in entry fee, plus whatever food you eat. So $300 a day to drive, and then because I split it with Dion, every other day was just about $50 in, you know, entry fee, food, and
Yeah.
hanging out.
And I have to do it ×2 because I brought the Texas Street Legal winner.
Yeah.
So, whoo!
Yeah, luckily you
brutal.
didn't have to buy a car the second time.
Yeah, I had to buy an entire extra car for the Texas Street Legal winner.
Yeah.
And it's a mint car.
Will didn't
And you
crash.
brought
It's literally mint color. It's
Yeah.
mint car.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Harrison?
And you brought me.
Oh, and I brought True and I brought Harrison too.
Thank you.
So it's pretty brutal. But okay, I think that's it for this video. These guys are just packaging up an entire car and we're just hanging out at the tire machine. Let's go eat. Food time.
なんと今 YouTube でビデオオプションが見放題 D1 グランプリ最高速人体実験などなどもう手に入らないビデオオプションのバックナンバーを続々